Today we're going to be chatting about the aftermath of the T20 World Cup. How are fans feeling after the T20 World Cup defeat? How are we feeling with regards to the loss that we had to face, of course? And I want to see what fans have had to say across social media as well, and what is the feelings behind everything that they are currently feeling when it comes to this particular game. I'm also going to share my thoughts and my comments with regards to this particular game. What do I think should be the next steps into the future? What do I feel should be the next steps when we talk about team selection? Which players are in, which players are out? All of those type of stuff I want to kind of address on today's show and talk about that with all of you guys. But it's mainly going to be a show where you guys get to interact in the live chat, ask me a couple of questions. I want to answer them as best as possible and see what we can come up with regards to your feelings and how you are feeling after this particular game and this defeat. It was a heartbreaking defeat, as I spoke about in my review show, which is doing its rounds currently and doing quite well on YouTube. So we've had a lot of mixed feelings and mixed comments in the comment section on that video. Certain ones are a little bit crazy, and certain ones are on our side. But we're going to share the feelings with each other over here and try to be at least a little bit. At least we can all feel this pain together and get over it together. I'm hoping that this show will be able to step us into the right direction, kind of lead us in that right direction when it comes to our emotions and dealing with it. We wanted to create a community over here where all of us get to talk to each other and have a conversation with each other about things like this. And that's what's nice, to have a community like this, to be able to express our feelings when it comes to this. So we're going to get straight into today's show. And as you know, it's going to be the aftermath of the T20 World Cup. But before we get going, further, we get started, we've hit that milestone, guys. The milestone that we aim to reach after this T20 World Cup. It was 5,000 subscribers. We've hit it. We went past it now. So now we're going to be working on getting to the next stage, the next big milestone. The next big milestone is going to be 10,000 subscribers. So let's try and get there, guys, as quickly as possible. If you are new to the channel and this is the first time that you're here and you like what we're doing, please subscribe and click that notification bell for all future videos. I'd also like you guys to please get involved in the comment section after we go live. I would like you guys to please get in the comment section and comment there, like and share as well. That's really helped the last couple of videos that we've been doing. The interaction in the live chat is brilliant on the live show to give it a nice, um, give it nice depth. But what is nice as well is if you guys can get involved in the comment section after the video has finished live streaming. I also want to tell you guys about our digital magazine. We have a monthly digital magazine that is adaptable to your mobile device, adaptable to your tablet or to your computer screens. It's 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen right now, as well as in the description. It's free. So please go ahead and subscribe right away. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are feeling after this T20 World Cup final defeat. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your live South African cricket show. I'm your host, Khalid Moedin, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with South African cricket, but we're going to be talking about the aftermath, the T20 World Cup. What are we feeling after this T20 World Cup defeat? Now, guys, this this game has been haunting me. I literally had a dream last night about this final, and what could have happened, what could have been. I saw the moment that Heinrich Klaassen hit the ball and it actually nicked and went for four. And we actually ended up winning the game and lifting the trophy. So I don't know if that was a dream or a nightmare. It felt, it's very, how can I say, it felt really celebratory and happy, but and that was the tone. But the fact that that is completely the opposite of what happened ended up kind of being a nightmare. I woke up really down and beat about it because we were so close. 7 runs, we were so close, and it bugged me that it was those players that could have won it for us. That they put us so close to a victory. We were in touching distance, and then the game just went away from us. And that was probably the hardest part for me, is that we got so close to the victory, but it didn't change my feelings about this team and how proud I am of the performance that they put in throughout this whole tournament. I really do feel proud about the situation, and I feel that getting past that semi-final voodoo is a massive, massive statement and a massive step forward, and it's something that we can now build on. When you get to a final, no one's guaranteed to win it. Many people might say because of Australia's record in finals in ICC World Cup finals that there is a slight guarantee, but I would say that there's no guarantee in finals. Anything can happen. Anybody could win. You need a little bit of luck as well, which didn't really necessarily go South Africa's way. I also saw a lot of reactions on social media to the catch from Sky. Now, the only thing that I want to say about that is I am surprised how quickly they judged that catch. His foot was extremely close to the boundary, and I would have just expected that the third umpires would have maybe taken a lot more angles than they did, a longer look at the particular incident. I know there's pictures online that are also showing that the boundary seem to have been moved. That there is a line clearly on that field where the boundary was supposed to be. I don't know how to take this because ultimately, I do still think that India played really well to win this match, and I do still think it was in South Africa's hands, regardless of that catch. Yes, that was a game-changing catch, and we needed David Miller. But those sort of situations could be avoided in the future if we have a stronger tail. We wouldn't have felt the pressure as much losing David Miller at that point if we had a great number 7 and a great number 8 that can really bat. So, yeah, it is a little bit strange. It is a little bit strange that that's been the narrative. It should be congratulating India for a well played final. And I don't want to hop on this particular topic too much. I think that the captaincy was good this World Cup. I really enjoyed Aiden Markram's captaincy throughout this tournament. The way he's kept the team together, the ethos in the team, the fighting spirit, the decisions he's made under pressure. There was a lot of those that he made. Some decisions he made that were a little bit unorthodox, and that's good to see them come off. But I was very disappointed with the batting performance, and Aiden really needs to step up his batting in white ball cricket. It hasn't been the best for quite some time now. He struggled in his T20. He struggled in the IPL. He struggled in this World Cup. So we're really going to need him to improve his performance with the bat when it comes to our white ball team. And it's something that I think is important for South Africa's future. I think Aiden Markram kind of, in my eyes, holds the key to the future generation teams. I think that he is the perfect player to kind of merge the youngsters and the more experienced players. He's slap bang kind of in the middle. And a lot of the younger players would have looked up to him and seen him as a potential role model. And a lot of the older players would have being there with him as he was coming through as a youngster himself. So I think he bridges the gap between young and old quite well. And what I do like is he has respect from the senior players, but he also has respect for of the younger players and the players in his own age pool, maybe 2 3 years give or take. So I do think that he's the right man to take us forward as a captain. uh, we will do a show on captains and talking about that a little bit more in depth. I would like to maybe do that sometime this week. But today's show is just going to be mainly dedicated to the live chat, but also to the social media reactions to this defeat. So I'm going to pull up Twitter quickly, or X, and have a look at the timeline and see some of the top kind of comments and posts that have been made recently with regards to this final. So Werner over here, he's a friend of the channel, been on quite a few shows. We will look to get him back on a show in the near future. He says life doesn't begin and end with cricket. There are ups and downs in the game. The Proteas will rise again, and there's always more to life. And he has this picture over here of Andrich Nokia um, with his baby, and Handy Klaassen over here as well. Um, really cute. uh, so it's good to see them still with their families, and obviously they're not going to leave their family after they lose the World Cup. We've got a comment over here. It's been 2 days, and I'll say this: I hope Miller turns up in 2026 and goes back with that trophy he deserves for years. To stand out the way he has done for years under pressure for Proteas and still get the wrath from fans, he deserves better. It'll come for him. Yeah, and Miller's looked quite sad in some of the pictures that we've seen floating around. But talking about 2026, it might be the right time now to maybe have a look at what's coming up from an ICC events perspective. So I put this graphic up on the screen over here for you guys. As you guys can see, um, there is obviously this was the T20 World Cup in 2024 in the USA and West Indies. The next thing is Pakistan ICC Champions Trophy, which is in February 2025. Then we'll see the T20 World Cup in India and Sri Lanka in February 2026. So it's another opportunity for India to win another trophy. It's in their backyard in conditions that will favor them, of course. So I saw someone commented and said that I said that the conditions favored them in the previous show. I don't remember saying that the conditions in the final favored India, the pitch conditions. I remember saying that the match situation, the fact, I remember saying that the match was set up from the start, and maybe I used the incorrect words there, but what I meant by saying that is that the match was kind of in India's favor from the start, seeing that they won the toss and batted first. Sometimes play, and it's not always the case because sometimes teams do win the toss and they choose the wrong option to do on that particular pitch on that particular day. And in those type of matches, I often say that was the wrong decision, and that decision actually favored the opposition side. In this case, India made the right decision, batting first on that wicket. Um, After that T20 World Cup, we have the big one in October, November 2027. South Africa and Zimbabwe and Namibia will be hosting the ODI World Cup. So it's a local one, and it's the one that we should all be aiming for. And the rest of it is also on this list, but I'm going to stop there with 2027 because there's a reason why I want to stop there. I will bring up the rest on future shows. But the reason I want to stop there is because I feel that everything now leading up to this particular tournament is going to be the key. How we are going to prepare for that and get forward and go forward. Um, so that's very important from that particular side. We need to think about who we're going to play. Are we going to change everything, or are we going to try and like, how can I say? Are we going to try and rebuild from scratch, let send some people home, etc., or are we going to um, try and keep the same type of team? Those are things that we're going to have to do from that perspective if we're going to have to look forward. So, what's happening here now? Let's continue with this particular thing over here on Twitter. That's not. This is from the Proteas woman. Also, we need to give a shout out. They played the first Test match, and they did pretty. They did okay. They was actually beaten quite comprehensively by India, but other than that, they did pretty well. Certain plays with the bat. As you can see, there's a lot of things about the Proteas woman that is popping up over here. Um, Vena again. Okay, here's Sabia has an interesting um, thought that she wants to obviously talk about. She says, I'm so sick of this word. Oops. I'm so sick of this word. We did not choke. We went further than any other Proteas team has. We were simply outplayed at the end by a class of Bumrah. Um, yeah, and yeah, the pop increase says SA choked, but let's not forget that they also conceded 42 from the last three that indeed proved to be very costly. I don't think they choked personally. I think that's an incorrect statement. Choking is when they like make dumb mistakes under pressure, I feel. And what I mean by that is like it's silly decisions that could have been avoided. I don't think that you can that was a choke. Um, there were cricketing reasons for us not getting through. It wasn't only personal decisions or personal mishaps. Um, and it's a T20 game where these players do take risks as well. So a guy like Heinrich Klaassen, for example, um, takes risks. We knew he's going to play shots. Now, did he play the incorrect shot at the wrong time? Yes, but we knew he was going to play shots. That's the type of player that he is. The David Miller one was unlucky, and it was a really good catch by Sky, and there were certain incorrect decisions made on the day, but those are not decisions where it was a brain fade or something. They were incorrect cricketing decisions made. It wasn't like silly mistakes. So to answer the super chat, thanks a lot for the super chat. For the super chat, Savesh, did SA choke? Want to know SA point of view? I don't think we did. So I had to read out that super chat. I'll get into the live comments very very soon. Generally speaking, though, a lot of people have said that they are proud. For example, some of you says it's also always so hard being the graphic designer behind these kinds of campaigns, knowing I've made a full role out of a champions version and not being able to post it is always tough. Thanks, Proti, for an amazing World Cup run. You made South Africa proud. That's crazy. That must suck. Milan says, I was in tears seeing this man broken like this. I'm really sorry, David. All I can say is that our time will come. My only wish is to see you lift the trophy in the Proteas shirt. It will happen soon. This is nonsense. Podium finishes in the last 8 months. Springboks world champs. Bafana Afghan bronze medalist. Proteas World Cup silver medalist. South Africa is a winning nation. That's a Joburg Super Kings post. Pretoria Capitals post. That's not interesting. That's not. That's a Um, that's a Springbok post. I don't know why the Springbok post is coming up here. Queen Charlotte says, I'm the only Proteas fan who's never called the Proteas chokers. Am I the only Proteas fan who has never called the Proteas chokers? No matter what, I cannot utter the word. I hate it. I urge all Proteas loving fans to ban that word, please. Sirini says, so near yet so far. Heart goes out to the Proteas, especially Klaassen at 13.4, 113 for 4. 69 needed from 38 from 38 2 overs of Dr. Death left, it was still India's game. SA and Klaasen changed the game in 8 balls, ransacking 34. Poor Aksa can't even be blamed. Heinrich Klaasen played some ridiculous shots. He was absolutely fantastic. And this picture here, it makes me really sad. It's not nice to see them so down and out. And there's Kelly. um, that pops up on the feed. Semi-final heartbreak. Not a nice big image to see that. That's also a semi-final heartbreak of the under-19s. Tim says this has been hugely impressive fight by the Proteas women. They can be proud of their effort so far, but the pitch is starting to prove problematic if you play back to fuller deliveries. After the lunch break, they need to get forward before the ball squats. That's for the Proteas women. Hit the like if you're proud of South African Proteas. Um, this is earlier on. That's the 29th of June. That's on the day. That's the Proteas woman. Yeah, that's all I can that I've found. This is a little bit later with regards to that. So that's some of the comments that I found on Twitter that I think that I think was interesting to show you guys. Let's get into the live chat and see what you guys have had to say in the live chat. It's been quite busy over here. Abhinav says even Riza Hendricks is not a bad player. You need to back him. Okay, so let's talk about what I think about the future and what I think should be happening. Okay, I'm gonna have the same energy that I've had before this World Cup. I have been speaking about a proper transition of players from the domestic teams into the South African Protea setup. I've been speaking about this for there to be a plan when it comes to that. Now, I think that we need to put the emphasis on the trophies when it comes to white ball cricket. That should be the benchmark of getting players ready and getting your best players as ready as possible for that World Cup. Now, how I think Rob operates is that he does look at players and he sees whether they have the temperament and the form leading into a tournament to be selected. That's how he looks at things. He picked Tristan Stubbs not because he's a youngster, but based off performances. Tristan has been one of the top scoring youngsters, not only the top scoring youngsters, top scoring batters in our domestic scene across formats, whether it be 4-day cricket, T20 cricket, or 50 over cricket. Even in the SA20, he's put up his hand and he's performed. That's, I feel, is the reason why. But on top of that, he obviously saw that there's a potential and this youth here that can carry us for a couple of seasons. So that's obviously a massive part of his decision to pick him. The same with Marco Jansen, I feel. Now, Marco has been blooded into the team before that already. So it wasn't really a difficult decision for him to pick Marco Jansen. Riza Hendricks was purely picked based on form. The guy was our number one T20 batter in the last year with the amount of runs he was putting on domestically as well as internationally. In fact, he won T20 Player of the Year at the CSA Awards. So he really did earn his spot to be selected as an opener in the side. He is now getting a little bit older now, and I know that sports players can go on for longer now in this modern generation. We can see players play up to a much older, a much later stage in their career than here. So than we saw in years past. So I do feel that there need to be certain decisions. To be honest, my gut feeling is telling me that this was probably Kwani's last World Cup, T20 World Cup. I highly doubt he's going to play in the next one in India. I don't know. I can't tell you that he's going to make that decision straight away. But I do have a feeling, given that he's already pulled out of the last two World Cups, the last two other formats in the World Cups. He's already pulled out of the 50 over, and he's already stopped Test cricket. So he's already pulled out of the other two formats. So I think that T20 internationals will probably be next. I don't know whether it is going to be a definite, given that he will be playing still in leagues around the world. So we're going to have to hear from Quinny and see what he has to say, basically. I'm sure that there will be some sort of question asked in a press conference or some sort of announcement if it will take place. But if that's the case, I do think that we have someone already in the World Cup squad that can take Quinny's place in Ryan Rickleton. I feel that now it's the right time then to give him an extended run in the team before the next T20 World Cup. So what I would like is for Rob Walter to think a little bit ahead and don't think into the next series. I would like him to actually look ahead and start blooding in players that he can give a long extended run in the team. The player that he thinks is going to be the next star in that position, whether it be an opener or the perhaps also having a look at a couple of all-rounders in that number 7 position as well, I think would be an important factor for me as well. Because I do think that South Africa need to strengthen that lower order. I feel that we need a proper batting all-rounder in that. Now we take on India in a T20 series next. And I think that will be in August. Will it be? No, it will be in November. We play them in November. So that is an important fixtures that we need to take a look at. I think we need to work towards that T20 series on picking a team that we feel will be the next generation of stars, that will be the next players knocking on the door for the team. I think that it's important for us to put these players that we feel are next in line under pressure. Pretty much how we did against the in the West Indies tour. Try and give some of these guys a chance to prove themselves and show that they are good enough. So July is next. Sorry, I'm talking a load of rubbish here. But July we go on a tour to Ireland, 3 ODIs and 3 T20s. In August, that's so sometime now. I don't know when that will be. So let me just check if the fixtures have been released on this. Yeah. Weird. This is showing me September now. So the FTP must have changed. Check this, guys. The FTP. Yeah, protest to Ireland in July. That's what I got. Yeah, so that fixtures are not here. So I'm gonna have to confirm that with you. But after that, we go to the West Indies. And we have 2 tests and 5 T20s. So I think that T20 series is an important T20 series for us to try and rebuild and try to find the next generations of talent. And I think that that's how they should look forward when it comes to this. Thank you for the super chat, Charves. Indian point of view, I think SA panicked. Most Indians believe that they might be seeing their cricket history. Australia is different. We fear Australia more. That's why. Yeah, I guess that you will. I mean, everybody fears Australia. Definitely. Swapan Jain says SA did right things. Three early wickets didn't let Virat get away. 176 a pass score. Klaasen got 2 overs of spin. Klaasen knew there was no one at seven, so he panicked and threw his wicket. It's an interesting point. And I, I don't think he threw. Yeah, he picked the wrong shot at that time. He definitely picked the wrong shot at that time. Um, Ibrahim says hardly the Proteas tour of Ireland have been moved to September and will be held in Abu Dhabi due to logistical problems with stadiums in Ireland. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks for that update. I didn't see. I wasn't focused on the news on this on this tour really. Uh, to be honest with you. Okay, so let me get some more of your live chats over here. It's coming so fast. If you guys want to get your comments read out, then you have to do what the rest have done and throw in some super chats over here. Can anyone name good all rounders who can bat at number seven of South Africa in ODIs apart from Marco Janssen? In ODIs, it's a bit tricky. Um, in ODIs, it's tricky. There've been players domestically that have performed in at number seven, but I don't feel that they're ready yet for that step up. Like for example, Mapungwana, Mkhlali Mapungwana has done really well at seven. Jason Smith has done really well at seven. He bats a little bit everywhere, 5, 6, 7. Really, he can bat anywhere in that 6, 5, 6, 7. He can even bat at four, perhaps. But so he's another person. Um, I think that a guy like Delano Potgieter is another guy that's performed pretty well at that in that position for the Lions as well. Um, but are these players ready? I mean, a Bayer Swanepoel could possibly do it. Uh, but his bowling's a little bit strong. I feel that his batting, although he's working on it, like he told us on an exclusive interview on this channel. So those are some of the guys that have done well in domestic cricket. But I feel that they just shy of making the Proteas setup. That's why those SAA tours are so important as well. Um, those are type of things that we need to think of. Oh, I see Kelly's mentioned Michal Pretorius over here. Yes, that's another guy that is in the mix as well. I'm not going to get into racist comments, guys. It's got nothing to do with color that people failed. There's white players that failed us too. So our captain failed us with a bat. So I don't want to get into a race talk on this particular stream, please. Guys, please smash the like button and comment and share as well. Please smash that like button. Very important that you do so. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and click that notification bell as well. Let me see some more comments that are actually aimed towards the show. What happened to Yanaman Malan? He performed really good in ODIs. He performed very poorly in domestic cricket. That's what happened. He hasn't had a great season at all for Boland. So he's going to need to rebuild himself before he gets selected for South Africa again. Matt 92 is still talking about the all-rounders over here. Suraj and Ethan Bosch, Michal Pretorius, Base Swanepoel bowling all-rounders. They are all bowling all-rounders. Matt 92 says Jason Smith Bayers. Yeah. That's why I said like Bayers is more of a bowling all-rounder. I said earlier on. He has Delano Potgieter is a possibility, like I said, as well. Siraj says over here, Delano Potgieter, Dean Forrester, Matthew Boast are proper batting all-rounders, which South Africa needs. They all need to perform domestically if we want to see them in the future. That's just the reality of the situation. We can't just take players straight from domestic cricket into or straight from under 19 cricket into the international setup unless they are doing something absolutely remarkable or they have a special skill set, something that maybe someone else doesn't, that no one else can actually be trained to do, something that is they're born with. For example, like a Marco Janssen is an exception because he's tall, and he's left-handed. He's really tall and left-handed, so he adds a little bit of natural variation that they can work with. And he comes with a whole different mentality. He's always had a strong personality and mentality. Um, any under 19 players to get a call up? I think the only person that's very close to a call up from the under 19 setup, in my opinion, will be Kwena Mapaka. I don't see any of the other players that have shown me enough to say they definitely can get a Proteas opportunity anytime soon. In That's just my opinion on that. Kelly says, Khalid, I would like to combine Ethan and Corbin into one cricketer. He's batting and he's bowling, 100%. Uh, why is nobody talking about the absence T20 player of Rassie van der Dussen? Guys, we've had this conversation about Rassie van der Dussen in for a very long time. Rassie doesn't take Riza's spot. Rassie doesn't open the batting. Rassie would take then Aiden Markram's spot. And if that's what you guys think should have happened, then speak up about that and say Rassie should have replaced Aiden, because that's actually the like for like replacement in that particular opinion, or Stubbs' position at 4. So that's what you need to speak about. Riley Rousseau did not do enough in T20 cricket in this last year to get selected into this team. And once again, you are saying that we must drop Aiden or Tristan Stubbs, who both had, I think, good tournaments. They had not okay. Aiden didn't, but Tristan had a decent tournament, and Aiden's our captain. So those are the decisions that you guys have had to make. It's easy to talk in hindsight after a tournament and say, "Oh, these players should have been selected." Not a lot of people were calling for Rassie van der Dussen for last year's. A lot of people complained about Rassie van der Dussen being selected in last year's T20, in the last T20 World Cup, because of the strike rate. And now that the tournament's over, now we got guys like saying that that was a mistake not picking him. I did feel sorry for him because of his form that he showed just before this World Cup, and also in the SA20 he showed some great form, but then he should have been picked over the likes of maybe Tristan Stubbs. I know he opened for SA20 in the SA20, and he did well opening in the SA20. But Riza was performing for the Proteas and in SA20. So both players were performing. It's strange to see people now say when Temba was in the team in the last T20 World Cup, everybody was saying Riza should have been selected. Riza gets selected in this World Cup, doesn't have a good World Cup. Now that everybody's saying that he didn't deserve it. He deserved the call up. And he deserved to get this opportunity to try and make things work. And unfortunately, he didn't. Um, Brian saying, what do we do with Riza? So many chances. I don't agree with you. In every chance he's gotten internationally, Riza Hendricks performed extremely well. He only didn't perform in this World Cup. In every international series leading up to this tournament, he's been our best batter, our most consistent batter, scoring 50s for fun. This World Cup has been a terrible World Cup for him. And I do think it's going to dent his chances a little bit for his future selection, especially if they want to rebuild and build towards the next World Cup and perhaps the Champions Trophy. But I do think they look at the two formats differently. They definitely look at the two formats differently when it comes to personnel. It just so happens that most of the personnel overlap. Chinmay says, does SA have an all-rounder like Aksa or Jadeja? We have George Linder, but George didn't have a good season and he had a lengthy injury last year that kept him out of majority of the end of the domestic season. So George needs to knock on the door again, but he's potentially a type of player that can bat powerfully, but he's not like an Aksa Patel where I feel that he can. I don't think he's as. I don't want to be too critical over here, but George is not like a number 6 who can come in and smash every single game. That's not kind of his role. He bats a little higher for the Western Province team, and he takes a little bit more. When he has a little bit more time, he performs better. He doesn't always perform well to come in and smash a quick 30-40 consistently. Uh, he can do it here and there in certain games. As you can see in the SA20, you'll see his performances there when he needed to do it. He didn't really um, do it that well. But he's a player that has that potential. He himself said on our channel that he thinks that he's South Africa's best all rounder. So let's see if Rob will decide to pick someone like him that is a batter that can spin the ball. There aren't many of them in South African cricket. We don't really have many of them here. We don't have a lot of spinners that are good batters as well, floating around. We got John Smuts perhaps, but I don't think that many people would decide on him to come through. I'm trying to think of more. Bryce Parsons, I feel, is not ready yet. I think there's a lot to do with his bowling that he needs to improve, and his batting. He's still trying to find more consistency. Is there more spinning all rounders that I'm missing out? You guys can help me in the chat if I'm thinking of them. And then we're obviously, Wesley saying Deva Brevis should be getting some game time versus Ireland. Well, yeah, like we had already mentioned that the Ireland one has been moved forward. So, I mean, moved back. So that's going to be a massive change with regards to that. I'm just trying to read out more comments here. I mentioned Bryce Parsons. I mentioned George Linder. Suraj and Thomas Carr was very underrated. Left arm Chinaman spinner, but he needs to also get a contract in the first division, and we need to see him playing domestic cricket in the first division a lot more. I can't, guys. I know that there are players in the second division that did spectacularly well, but the level is just not the same as the Division 1. The competition is just not on the same level. I'm sorry to say that, but that's the truth. So I need to see those players that did well in Division 2 perform the same in Division 1. I have to see that. Kelly says, Khalid, I don't think we sacrifice Amaraj, Peter Fortuin for the sake of a spinning all-rounder. That's fair, but if I'm going to pick a spinning all-rounder, I would pick him at 7 or 6. You can still pick him at 7 and 6. But obviously we've got a top 6 of... We have Miller at 6 currently, but if we're going to change things up in the future, that can be something to look at, the batter that can spin a little bit at 6. I mean, I wouldn't mind trying. I know people might be a little bit, this might be a little bit controversial and maybe not favored by many, but I wouldn't mind actually trying someone like Deva Brevis in the 6. If David's going to take a little bit of a break now after this World Cup and we play some T20s towards the end of the year, I wouldn't mind seeing Deva get an opportunity at 6 and spin a little bit, where he can play freely and he doesn't have to worry about the stress of facing the new ball as an opener or playing up the order, fighting up the order, easing his way into the team rather than just being thrown into a pressure situation. Because I do think there are other guys like Matthew Bretsky and Ryan Rickleton that can take that responsibility now for the next few years until Deva can maybe step up and take over from Aiden or from Aiden in the future. I mean, I think Aiden's still going to play for a couple of years. But we could see that down the line from a South African standpoint. Look here, the amount of talent that's coming through with the amount of players that people are going to throw out there, we're going to be very upset with the players that are going to be left out. Because if Matthew Bretsky is coming through, Rassie van der Dussen is probably not going to get another shot, I feel. But if Ryan Rickleton's coming through and Bretsky's coming through, we've got Stubbs already in the team, Aiden Markram's our captain, then you've got Deva Brevis coming through the system, You've got the likes of Jordan Herman that's doing really well. You've got um, uh, there's a youngster at Northwest that we need to keep our eye on as well, Mikael Prince. I think that this can be a big season for him. Uh, you, I'm trying to think of more now. On the fly, it's very difficult to think of all those names. But yeah, there are so many players coming through that I feel we're going to have so many players in different positions to pick from. Trying to fit them all in is going to be hilariously difficult. BSV says Beretsky's over there. He doesn't have the temperament. I think he does have the temperament. I think he definitely does have the mentality. Um, Matthew Beretsky is a very talented player. He's been very unlucky the way he's lost his wickets. I feel that something will click for him. The thing that makes Matthew Beretsky for me is exactly his mentality. That's the first thing that I picked up from him as a player. So yeah, Kelly says, yes, Jordan and Ruben both had a good season. True. So for me personally, um, this domestic season is going to be a huge one for a lot of players. There are so many opportunities, I feel, for new players to come and show their class. I think for Rob Walter, I think now is the right time for him to start giving players opportunities in these series coming up in the next few international matches to see where they're at. I think that he needs to start thinking about how he's going to replace someone of Klaasen's caliber and David Miller's caliber, because we're going to have to see with him. I don't think we can really tell whether they are going to make it until the 2027 World Cup or not. They're going to have to see it themselves if they can keep up this intensity for that long. So that is something that we need to have a look at when it comes to our development for the next big ICC tournaments. Guys, thanks a lot for coming on the show with all the super chats as well. For the super chats, thanks a lot as well for contributing. Thank you for being in the live chat. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, but please subscribe and click that notification bell. I'm going to say thank you again for 5,000 subscribers. It really, really helps us so much when you guys are supporting us. But we're also going to need you, once this video is over, to go into the live chat. Oh, sorry, not into the live chat. To go into the comment section and leave your comments there. The question I'm going to ask you guys to leave is, who are the next players in line that you'd like to see in the next few white ball tours or series that we play? Name your players and tell me the position that you'd like to see them in. So if it's, for example, Ryan Rickelton, then you say Rickelton as an opening keeper. I would like to hear you say that. If you say Deva Previs and you say you want to see him at 3 or at 6 or at 5 or at 4, whatever the case may be. So throw it in there in the live chat. Let me know. I mean, in the comment section, let me know who you'd like to see next in the Proteas setup and who do you think Rob Walter should pick in our next white ball series and tours. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again very soon for another live show. Please click that notification bell so that you can get notified on when we do go live. Peace out, everyone.